What's up, everybody? It is the Outlet Forum and your esteemed co-host Chris Camello and Chaz in the building. What up, Chris?
What up, what up? Opening week, and there is a storm coming to LA, and I don't mean one from up above either.
Nah, man. It is all happening in the city of Los Angeles. You got the Lakers, you got the Dodgers, you got the Rams even on Thursday night. You got USC football, UCLA football. Did I leave out the Knights as well, who played for the first time last night as well? So it's a lot happening in the city.
LAFC MLS playoffs Sunday. That'll actually be the only game in town.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. So, I mean, we got it all today. We got a hell of a show tonight because the NBA is back officially. Regular season games have started. I have already dropped 3 parlays, and we haven't even finished the night games yet. So it is. It is.
Chaz, hold on. Are those repo men
Yo,
behind you right there, repossessing your
uh,
place?
nah, man, nah, man. I bet because you have to make sure that you bet responsibly, Chris, at all times. So, um,
Of course.
man,
The more you know.
we got a hell of a show, man. So, I mean, Embiid is getting investigated by the NBA. There's controversial calls going on in Game 5 of the WNBA Finals. That was actually pretty special. We got to get into that. Um, and also, you got Boston doing a complete blitz on the New York Knicks, who I thought my New York Knicks, because we thought that the New York Knicks were going to come out like gangbusters this year after the trade that they made and all the stuff that they did in this offseason, especially leading up with Tibbs and DiVincenzo getting into it with Rick Brunson, Jalen Brunson's dad. But at the end of the day, you got to start off the show with history. And history was made last night for the first time, Chris. Um, LeBron James and Bronny James played together for the first time. And there's just so much hate, bro. I don't understand really what the issue is and why so many people have so much to say about LeBron James and Bronny James and this and that. But I have my own theories and I'll get into a little bit of that. But I want to give you the floor first, Chris, because at the end of the day, you know, we do represent Laker Nation as Laker fans, right? Obviously, I got the shit over my shoulder, but um, we root for the whole NBA. We like the game. We want to see respect. We want to see, history be done, especially if it is in the Laker uniform. But Chris, why don't you tell me what your thoughts are on what happened last night? We'll get into the win, but let's start with history. What did you make of that? And what's really your take on, what's your opinion on how Bronny got into his situation and really what the perception is surrounding that?
Yeah, it was history in the making. And the Lakers had this in mind over the summer. They had this exact moment of LeBron James and LeBron James Jr., aka Bronny, sharing the floor together. And they wanted to make it a whole thing. They wanted to have it to be an actual spectacle. LeBron James, obviously going into year 22, about to be 40 in December. Here's Bronny, who's, I believe, 19 or 20 years old. I think he just had a birthday recently. 55th overall pick in the draft this past June. Only did 1 year at USC. And it wasn't even really a complete year as he was coming off of a very serious heart issue the previous summer. So it was a bizarre moment, but a kind of a cool one, to be honest with you. A father-son moment. We haven't seen that except in baseball with the Griffeys, Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr., who did it with the Seattle Mariners back in the mid to late 80s. I can't remember the exact year. Actually, the cool moment to me wasn't LeBron and Bronny sharing the floor together because they only shared the floor together for like 3 minutes. It was the pregame moment of Junior and Senior with Junior and Senior. But here's the difference. Obviously, LeBron James is an all-time great, but Ken Griffey Sr. was a 2-time World Series champ and over a 300 hitter. And Ken Griffey Jr., Chaz, in our generation, one of the great baseball players of all time, almost a unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer, a 10-time Gold Glove winner, one of the most complete baseball players ever to play the game. So there's the difference there. Bronny James, to me, if it were up to me, he'd still be in college right now, playing for Eric Musselman at USC or Dana Altman in Oregon or with Calipari down in Arkansas. But this is the byproduct of being in the LeBron James business. What's it going to take to keep you happy? What's it going to take? Because we're all in on you now. You want your son? Fine, you got it. You want your podcast partner as the head coach? Give us a
is that really how you? Okay, go ahead.
I think no. Look, like I said, it was a cool moment, Chaez. But let's be honest, this is all a byproduct of being in the business. Now, maybe Bronny has a solid career. I still think he's very raw. He still has a lot of development left to do. He needs to develop a more consistent jump shot. He has some skill, but it needs time. It needs development, like anything else. And a lot of times, as you know, these second-round picks never really, you could count on one hand how many in recent memory had good careers. I'm not even talking Hall of Fame careers like the Manu Ginobilis, the Tony Parkers, or the Draymond Greens. I'm talking like the Glenn Big Baby Davises. I'm talking the Jordan Clarksons. I'm talking even, who knows one day, Max Christie. So a lot of these second-round picks never really turn into anything. So it was a cool moment. They could put it behind them now. They could maybe send Bronny down to the G League where he can get some development, and they could focus on the task at hand, which is how to make a dent in this Western Conference and be a top 6 team.
At the end of the day, man, what I don't understand is the hate, because I loved it. I've loved every single minute of it. And really what it comes down to for me, is everybody, Laker fans are just so divided. It starts with Laker fans, right? Because Laker fans have always just been so protective of Kobe, right? Everybody loves everybody that's a Laker fan for some fashion loves Kobe. Now there is a section of Laker fans who are just Kobe fans that put Kobe before, or a player, specifically Kobe, before the franchise, right? Me personally, I got to put the franchise always first, but because you have that division within the franchise of the fans itself, or the fans of the franchise itself, you get these different thoughts and you get these different opinions, and it's the own Laker fans that have these rumors and start up these rumors and have these feelings and go after LeBron, and they have channeled that hate that they have for LeBron, because you can't really hate on him any other way, because he's succeeding in every other way, shape, and fashion that you possibly can. The only little chink in his armor right now is the fact that he has a son who may not be up to snuff like somebody like Dalton Connect, but is still on the team. Right? He's getting paid the same amount as Maxwell Lewis. If you don't know that name, you don't know who the second-round pick was for the Lakers last year. So you talking about the Lakers and having an issue with the second-round pick and 55 pick and this and that. Really, the issue that I'm hearing that most people have really isn't the fact that he's on the team or anything like that. It's the fact that he's getting paid what he's been getting paid. And the fact that he's making the same as Maxwell Lewis. Well, I don't think he jumped the line, to be honest with you.
No, but that's the other. I just wanted to add to your point. That's where the other hate is. It's not just the money. It's also, does he deserve to be there, whether he's a 55th pick or not? So I just wanted to add to that. But go ahead, continue. That's a good point you're making.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't think he jumped the line. I don't think he did anything wrong. He's still in shape. He plays good enough. I mean, you don't really expect anything from the second-round pick, right? Especially in his first year. A first-round pick in Jalen Hood-Schifino barely even played 20 games for the Lakers and actually got on the floor. Even though Bronny did play 3 minutes and it goes down as a game, he didn't really play in the game like that. He had a moment and he had a shot and it didn't go in, but at the end of the day, it counts as a game that he played. But overall, I really just don't understand the hate. And because if you could do it too, you would. And because you can't is the reason why some people want to point the finger at, hey, oh, this is fake, oh, this and that. I'm not expecting anything out of the second round or the 55th pick of the draft anyway. So for Bronny,
I hear you.
If it's, and more importantly, and this is my last point on it, more importantly, it reinvigorates LeBron and gives him an extra fervor that he probably wouldn't have had this year going into his 22nd season, going along with AD and JJ Redick and the same pretty much roster that he had last year, that The only main change is that he got a couple rookies, a couple of different guys at the end of the bench. Gabe Vincent actually can get on the floor. Vanderbilt is still hurt, but JJ Redick has guys like Jackson Hayes and Rui Hachimura looking like high caliber NBA players. So now that we're done talking about Bronny for a sec, the Lakers are actually a team. If they beat Phoenix, especially after what Phoenix is doing to the Clippers right now, not no tall task, right? Because Kawhi isn't playing. But if Phoenix beats the Clippers and the Lakers come through and beat Phoenix on Friday and then turn around and beat who they got on Saturday? I think the Kings on Saturday.
Yeah.
Look, the Lakers are going to be formidable. And I'm not saying that they're going to come out like gangbusters and win the championship, but because they look organized and because they have the best player on the team and because they have the two best, most effective players outside of Steph Curry on the Olympic team and AD and LeBron on their actual squad that helped them win that gold medal a few months ago in Paris, I can't help but be positive about the team and what they're going to do moving forward. So I'll leave it to you, Chris. What do you think that this team is going to do ultimately at the end of the day? You think they're going to be in the play-in like the last, 3-4 years or not making the playoffs? Or are they actually going to win some early games and be able to slide comfortably into a 3rd, 4th, 5th seed and maybe even have some home court advantage in the first round?
Well, first off, let me just say I'm not part of that faction of Laker fans who are throwing hate at LeBron or Bronny or anything like that. So I just wanted to clear that up. I really was not throwing hate at it at all. I was pointing out what I
didn't
saw
say you were. I didn't say you were.
All right. No, I wanted to make sure. But you're right that there is that faction and everything. And by the way, I don't think it's right to assassinate the kid or on anything like that because he's actually seems like a pretty humble and nice young man and just trying to make his way and deal with all the pressure and everything.
Literally a kid, bro.
Yeah, literally a kid. I mean, he's not even old enough to drink yet. So, and all of a sudden he's thrown into this limelight, which is not easy for anybody. And the thing is, when people want to throw, and I'm glad you pointed this out about Hood Schifino, because I said, if you want to get mad at a draft pick, get mad at last year's first rounder, Hood Schifino, when you had Jaime Hawkins on the board, when you had Brandon Pojemski on the board, when you had Cam Whitmore on the board. You know what I mean? 3 guys that have been great contributors to their respective teams in Miami, Golden State, and Houston, right? Hood Schifino, he had a terrible preseason, and that guy is quickly heading into bust territory. So you want to get mad at the Laker front office, don't get mad at pick 55. Get mad at the 2023 17th pick. Not this year's 17th pick. They got that right. I like Dalton Connect. But yeah, going back to last night's win, considering they didn't shoot the ball well, considering that they have got a first-year head coach, I thought they played a really solid basketball game, Chaez. They maintained control throughout. Anthony Davis was a monster. He stuck it to Julius Randle. More importantly, he stuck it to Rudy Gobert. Oh, that's a 4-time defensive player of the year? Hold my beer. I'm gonna climb that Stifle Tower like it's nothing. And he did that. You know, I mean, I hate to use this word when it comes to Rudy Gobert. Rudy got bitched last night by Anthony Davis. He got his ass busted. Like he was like this was the Olympics all over again with him with Team France, where he almost became unplayable for them going into the medal rounds. Anthony Davis looks great. He was in midseason form, and I think honestly, Chaez, the Olympics is what he needed to start the season, because what's the one thing we've always complained about? He's a slow starter. He's got to play himself into shape, and that sometimes leads to injuries. More importantly, it leads to lackluster play. He looked fantastic last night. Austin Reeves was rock solid. D'Lo was floating around. I didn't really like his game. He was struggling to make shots, but still, I'm not too concerned about D'Lo. They're going to figure it out with him. Rui was fantastic last night as well. It was just a solid win, and they got this win, Chaez, by not shooting the basketball well. They did it with their defense, their energy, their effort. They were beating up the Wolves on the glass. Granted, Minnesota's got some things to work out on. I mean, they're trying to incorporate Randall and DiVincenzo, but considering that this was last year's number 3 seed and a team that went to the Western Conference Finals, it's a good early test for the Lakers, and they show that they're up to snuff. And by the way, they got their first opening night win in 8 years. The one criticism I had is this team cannot play on opening night. They suck. You could put the Charlotte Hornets out there, the worst team in the league, and the Lakers would probably still lose it, but not last night. So impressive win. Anthony Davis was outstanding, and hopefully they could build on that going into Phoenix or against Phoenix Friday.
I loved it. I loved it, man. There was another team that played even better than the Lakers, and that would be the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics did absolutely what they were supposed to do uh, to the New York Knicks. And I didn't even see it happening like that. Honestly, Chris, I had the Knicks +6 covering the spread. I did not think, normally you would have Boston come out and they're not really ready to go because they're too busy looking at the rings or, that's just what happens, right? Sometimes, but they came
Except
out
when they're
ready
the
to go.
Lakers.
Yeah, or except when it's the Lakers, but they were
Yeah.
ready, and I really think it speaks to the chip that they have on their shoulder about Jason Tatum not playing in the Olympics, Jaylen Brown having to go on Stephen A. Smith's show talking about why he's not marketable and addressing people and what they think about him, and these are the champs. They're 27, 28, ready to go, young thoroughbreds to go along with Al Horford and Derek White, and Porzingis wasn't even on the floor. Now, granted, Karl Anthony Towns, it was his first regular season game with them under Tibbs. Probably wasn't too comfortable with what what his assignment was or whatever the case may be. But Boston did the damn thing, and they went for a record. I'm hearing a lot about people having an issue with them trying to go for it and shooting 13 threes and missing all of them, right? But they could afford to do that because they were up as many points as they were up. So, Chris, what do you make of the fact that the Boston Celtics not only did what they did to the New York Knicks by obliterating them 132 to 109, and it probably wasn't even that close? And what do you make of the Celtics moving forward? Do you think they could keep this up, or is this really something that we could see for the rest of the season?
Yeah. First of all, if you guys have any questions or comments and you're on the IG Live or on Twitter, YouTube, wherever you're accessing us, drop them in there. Chaez and I are going to try to get to them on both of our respective streams right now. I know my guy Paco's on here right now. My girl Carla's on here. Frank Hernandez. Just want to give a quick shout out. Why everyone got to always find a reason to hate my team? Says Paco. Chaez, I'm going to let you answer that after I answer your question to me about Boston. The Celtics looked great last night. They were focused. You're right. Ring night is always a tricky night because you get your rings, you get the banners, there's a ceremony. The other team is in the locker room. They're stewing. They got to stay there extra time before they're allowed to come out onto the court. And everyone thought New York, they were the talk of the Eastern Conference, right? They got Kat, they got Mikal Bridges. They brought back Josh Hart and Anunoby and Jalen Brunson signed an extension. Boston made a statement last night. They made a statement you guys think you're at our level. Everyone thinks that we just glided to a championship last year. Once again, for the second time in the show, hold my beer. We'll show you what's up. And I thought Jason Tatum was the one who set the tone. After he felt disrespected in the Olympics, he came out firing on all cylinders, and he was outstanding. Brown did great. Holiday had a good game. Derek White, old reliable Al Horford. Al Horford is he's like a 40-year-old pitcher, old noodle arm. But yeah, he's still going to strike out 10 guys. Why? Because you can't figure out how to beat this guy. What the Knicks did yesterday, and I don't think the Knicks should be worried. We got two big pieces we're trying to incorporate into our lineup. We got beat by a team that just did this last year, and they did it into the springtime. So that they are who we want to strive for, who we want to beat, who we want to reach for, right? So if I'm the Knicks, that was an embarrassing loss. 29 threes, matching an NBA record. By the way, 29-61. So they shot just under 50% from downtown. It wasn't even just the fact they made 29 threes.
The fact that they shot that many threes is crazy. But man,
no, I just want to point that out because I think that's significant. But what it shows is, and here's the scary part, because everyone's going to be like, well, the Knicks, they need time. They don't have Mitchell Robinson. Okay, Boston did that, and they didn't have Porzingis. That's the scary part. Boston's going to get tested. They'll go through those championship team lulls, where they're going to probably drop, 5 out of 8 at some point throughout the season. They'll deal with their injuries and everything like that. knickknacks here and there. And I'm sure Joe Mazzulla will find ways to get these guys, games off and whatnot. But Boston showed yesterday, not just to New York, but to Philly, to Milwaukee, to Indy, to Cleveland, to anyone who thinks they have a shot this year in the Eastern Conference, Miami, it doesn't matter. We are that team.
Okay.
I just want to point that out.
Ultimately, man, like I just, hey, what up, TJ? Hey, shout out my dog. Hey, we go back 15, 6, like almost 2 decades. Shout out my boy TJ in here in the live chat really quick. Look, man, ultimately for the Boston Celtics, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. And I think they might win the championship again. I do think that they possibly can win it the next 3 out of the next 5 years. I think the way that the team is built and the way that the money is going and the fact that they have JB, JT, and Porzingis, it is what it is. And I can't just be a hater. Like as much as I want to hate on them, as much as I hate on the Celtics, and as much as everybody hates on whatever they want to hate on, I can't hate on that. Because why? Because I appreciate greatness. And the fact that these guys are doing what they're doing is great. They're going to continue to be great. Now, look, if they don't win the championship again, if they don't win another championship, look, to me, it seems like if they can stay on this trajectory, they'll continue to be great. But if this is all that they have in them, then it could be a flash in the pan, and there's plenty of players that are flash in the pan that have won one championship that are justified in doing so because winning one championship is hard in and of itself. I'm almost messing up my mic here. But the Celtics are doing what they're supposed to. So I'm actually impressed. And if they look up and they're 10-3 or 20-4 and 36-10 or whatever the record is going to be later on, then that's par for the course, bro. So at the end of the day,
can I just say one more thing?
New York shouldn't feel bad because I agree with Perk. Yeah. Anybody that would have came in like that would have gotten beat if they played the way that the Celtics was going to play anyway. Also, there was nothing you could do about it. Jason Tatum putting up 37 and then playing like that, nothing you were going to do about it. Last point before we move on, bro.
Yeah, you want to hate on something, hate that freaking banner ceremony where they brought out the former champs. Obviously, I can't get mad at Bob Cousy in a wheelchair or anything like that. I suppose I could, but I'm not going to. Cornbread Maxwell, Garnett, Allen, Pierce, with like an extra pep in their step, and then these guys hanging banner 18. I was looking at that and I was saying, I hope the Lakers are watching this because now it's like, hey, we topped you guys yet again, 18-17. What y'all gonna do now? That's where I got pissed yesterday. So yeah, I could hate on Boston. Maybe not all their players. This is not as hateable of a team as the big 3 era with Garnett, Allen, Pierce, Rondo, Doc Rivers, Perk, Big Baby, all that. But there was still something about those pricks hanging up that fucking banner yesterday that had me just like, God, I remember why I hate these guys now. And then Tatum saying Garnett screaming in his ear and stuff. And I got a lot of respect for KG. That was our generation right there, Chaz. We grew up watching Kevin Garnett in Minnesota and then eventually
Anything's
Boston.
possible.
Yeah, I know.
I thought that shit was so weak. I don't give a damn. I'll say it. I'll say it because everybody recognized. I thought that shit was so weak. I thought KG cussing all the time before. He's like, "Oh my mother, all these blah, blah, blah." He was cussing and all that stuff, and then he started to yell that out. But I thought that shit was weak, man. But everybody had their moment at the end of the day, and that was natural. So that's a natural NBA moment.
Championship 18. Oh God, that was hard to watch yesterday. That was hard to watch. Yeah.
It was for real, but look, man, there's plenty more to get into, plenty more that is happening in the NBA and in the world of sports, and a lot that's going on also, as it turns out, in the WNBA. Even though the season is over, there's a lot going on. But before we get to that, this is just a little bit of baseball, man. We got to switch gears a little bit, Chris, and I'll kind of give you the floor on this one because, I know it's I love the Dodgers just as much as the next guy. But my man Chris here really, really, really loves the Dodgers. And Fernando Valenzuela, passed last night. Um, he was only 63, 64 years old, and this is coming
About to
off
be
the heels
64
of,
this month. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, less than what, 90, 120 days ago, he was at Dodger Stadium getting his uh, number retired. So, um, man, Chris, give you the floor, man. What does it mean to? I was really shocked, just even talking about it. But obviously, we're not old enough to experience Fernando Mania. For those of you that don't know, Fernando Valenzuela was, a Rookie of the Year, a Dodger legend, a cultural legend, especially here in Los Angeles. What does it mean to you, and how is it going to affect the team moving forward with Game One of the World Series looming on Friday?
Well, first of all, deepest condolences to Fernando's entire family. Obviously, we knew something was wrong. He left the broadcast. I forgot which game it was. It was last month though, and they said Fernando will no longer be resuming broadcasting duties. We knew something was wrong. We heard that he had been hospitalized, and then we find out last night while everyone was probably watching the Laker game or doing something that he just passed away almost suddenly at the age of 63. So condolences to his family, his wife, his kids, his grandkids. He was the youngest of 12 kids. And, me and my girl, I'll never forget, I picked her up one night and I was telling her, hey, they announced, it was during FanFest last year before the 2023 season. And my girl Carla and I, we're both big Dodger fans. I tell her, hey, they announced they're going to retire Fernando's jersey. And so I was like, I think it's going to be August 11th. Boom, she gets tickets. We were like, we're going to that game.
Oh,
It
you
was
were
a
there,
Friday
bro.
night.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we were there. We saw, dude, that ceremony, not only was it a Ring of Honor ceremony where Fernando's, old teammates and family got to make speeches. He got to make a speech. They retired his number 34. There was a drone show that was dedicated to him after that night. It was awesome. And then, the whole stadium, it was a vibe, man. I tell you, and
Most Dodger games are, man.
of course, but this moment when they announced him and he's walking down a blue carpet from the dugout to the stage, they are playing, like you have the mariachis playing Viva Mexico, and the entire crowd, at least a lot of the people in our section, were singing along with that. And what that showed you was exactly who this guy was and what he meant to Dodger Nation. And in 81, yeah, we could talk about the Rookie of the Year, the Cy Young Award winner, the World Series championship that he led the Dodgers to. Remember, Chaez, in the 70s, the Dodgers could not get past the Yankees. They lost in 2 consecutive World Series to the Yankees in 77 and 78. And it took Fernando and that iconic delivery of looking up to the heavens and delivering that screwball to get them over the hump against the evil empire in the New York Yankees in 81. And he ushered in a new era of Dodger baseball. Was the bridge to the Mexican community, Mexican-American community, the entire Latino community. And he was beloved, respected, adored, and it continued for years. And it's just a shame that he's gone. And, you're right. We were too young to remember Fernando Mania, but this man was an iconic pitcher, a Dodger icon, and more importantly, Chaez, an LA icon. And you can't always say that about a lot of the great athletes that have graced the LA, the Los Angeles sports scene. But Fernando was one of those few. So I just wanted to just point that out. I thought he deserved to be acknowledged in tonight's show.
Absolutely. As did I, especially with the Game One looming on Friday. And I got to put this out there. It just kind of feels like fate that the Dodgers not only win Game One, but also win the series over the Yankees. Don't know what's going to happen, obviously, after this year, but I think this one might be ours. So, but speaking of championships, getting into another sport in the WNBA, like I had mentioned earlier, the New York Liberty have hoisted their franchise's first WNBA championship. They win in a thrilling Game 5, an overtime win in New York. The place was rocking. I'm happy for Joe Tsai, man. I really am. And I know it's kind of weird to say that, but on the heels of that Kyrie debacle, KD debacle, and the owner of the Brooklyn Nets, who just so happens to own the New York Liberty, I was happy for him and his wife and his family and being able to celebrate that, but it comes at the cost of a controversial call. There was a call that was made at the end of the fourth quarter. Breanna Stewart got the ball, may have traveled actually first before she even put the ball on the ground, from what it looks like. And then there's marginal contact, clearly, but it's to the body and a little bit of contact up top. I was actually okay with the call. I think that he is all up in arms because it's like, oh, you can't call that. It's the same thing that we in every championship. There's always going to be some kind of call. Same thing with the Caitlin Clark screen in the NCAA women's tournament earlier this year. Can't believe that was actually earlier this year, man. It's been a long ass year.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
The controversial call in the Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes and the Eagles a couple years ago now. I mean, there's always going to be controversial calls. Chris,
I'll do you one better.
You want to give? Go ahead.
Oh, no, I just want to, and as a Laker fan, you'll appreciate this. What about Bill Laimbeer fouling Kareem on a hook shot attempt in the 88 finals in Game 7?
Look,
Piston fans were devastated on that. Yeah, no, I'm just saying that's another one too. But go ahead, continue. I just wanted to point that one out. That was a good one.
I mean, there was that one. My Uncle Mondo is probably still sick about that to this day. So, I mean, look, there's always controversial calls, but I just didn't think it warranted, or it has warranted, as much traction or attention or conversation as it has. I think we should give the New York Liberty, who is the best team all season long, the props that they did for even, I mean, look, you had 6 possessions, the Minnesota Lynx did, in overtime. You didn't capitalize on any of them. You didn't make a single field goal, and you turned the ball 5 times of those 6 possessions that you had. But here is the Minnesota Lynx head coach, who had quite a bit to say after the win, or after the loss, I should say.
And all the headlines will be Lee cries out, bring it on, right? Bring it on. This shit was stolen from us. Bring it on.
Yeah, that was the big controversial line right there. The shit was stolen from us. Bring it on. That she cried foul and everything like that. And Chaez, here's what I always hate about that. And also too, I don't know if you mentioned this, the Rams pass interference non-call in that NFC
right. There was
the Saints.
That was blatant.
No, it was. But what I'm saying is, when I think about these plays, right? Fouls, non-fouls, whatever you want to call it, flags, penalties, whatever sport you're talking about, it should never come down to one play. You can't play that poorly, like you said, in overtime and say, well, the reason why I played that poorly was because of this call. Listen, that call didn't lose you. That call didn't win you the game, but it didn't lose you the game either. You had a chance in overtime to right the ship, and you didn't. Just like in that Saints game, when I pointed out, Saints had control of that game. Why wasn't the topic about how Drew Brees was that bad in the red zone? You know what I'm saying? Like, why did it have to come down to those plays? So I'm just saying, you could look at two sides of the same coin over there. And the problem I have with Cheryl Reeve doing that, who, by the way, just led Team USA to yet another gold medal in women's basketball, a highly respected head coach, got the team back to the WNBA finals for the first time, I think, in 7 years. It makes you look small in that moment. It makes you look small, and now you become a headline, and you take away some of the luster from the Liberty Championship. And now between that, as well as what the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, was wearing during the trophy ceremony, which was, I guess, a dress that had New York skyscrapers on it. So a lot of people think that the fix was in, it was rigged. I mean, look, Liberty, like you said, Chaez, was one of the best teams all year long. They were in the finals last year. This was a hard-fought series. Maybe that call shouldn't have been made. I'll agree with that. But the fact is, it was made. You had 5 more minutes in overtime. You had a chance to win the game. You had a chance to win the series. You know what I'm saying? Like, at some point, you got to take some of that responsibility on that as well. And maybe some of that is being hot in the moment, and you're going to say things and do things when you're fresh after a loss, when that wound is fresh. Absolutely. But I just think in that moment, that shouldn't have been the focus, that was stolen from us and all of that. Like, that to me was not a good look.
Weak.
It was weak.
Fuck,
exactly.
man. It was weak. It was weak.
Yeah.
Say that privately. Say that to the league. Nothing is going to benefit from you for saying that, even if that is how you feel. But hey, at the end of the day, just take your L and move on. They played great. She actually undercut her own team because they played great, and they really weren't even expected to make it this far.
Right.
They weren't
supposed to be Vegas.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Vegas. So I just really don't think that this was the right move for her to go with. So look, it is what it is. Let's get into this last topic, Chris. I know we were going to discuss some NBA injuries real quick, but it really comes down to Joel Embiid, because Joel Embiid is the one that's being investigated by the NBA for pretty much not keeping his mouth shut, because he said he's not going to play on any back-to-backs. It's already being reported by Shams Charania that he's not playing the entire first week of the season, maybe even the first couple weeks. Paul George is out because he hyperextended his knee. And then you also got DeJounte Murray breaking his hand in the first night. Who else is out?
RJ Barrett recovering from shoulder problems. Zion did not play on opening night because he was sick.
Personal.
Well, originally I thought it was illness.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Personal, whatever. You mentioned Murray.
And then you got Kawhi Leonard.
You got Kawhi. I was about to say, did you say Kawhi already? Okay, no, you didn't.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, I know it's the first night. I know it's, just that the fact that we're already starting to have games, but it's already like taking the wind out of our sail that some of these, look, we don't have great players or like NBA superstars that are outside of Embiid and outside of Kawhi Leonard. But outside of those two guys, I mean, these guys they're still NBA players and guys that are going to affect rosters and affect games and things of that nature. So I just, I don't know what it is. I just think that it's got to be the Olympics. It's got to be training. It's got to be something that is causing guys to, miss games already on the first night of the season. But Chris, what do you make of it? Is this going to be kind of like a theme this year? Because it already feels like it has been, but they changed the rules, and you gotta play 65 games to even get any awards or get certain All NBA titles and things of that nature, which equate to certain raises in your contract. So this is a pretty big ripple effect. But what's your take on it, man, so far?
Okay, first of all, 3 more names to throw out there: Porzingis, Mitchell Robinson, and God, what was that third name that I had?
Man, Porzingis, Mitchell Robinson,
Isaiah Hartenstein. Yeah, Hartenstein just went down with Oklahoma City. Gosh, I could have sworn there's another. Oh, Lakers, Jared Vanderbilt. That's the other one. Jared Vanderbilt is also out as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, okay, yeah, no, and here's the thing, and you can't blame the Olympics.
I'm not blaming the Olympics. I'm just saying like Vanderbilt's been out, but
yeah, exactly. I mean, these guys are, and Kawhi's got the constant knee inflammation. I mean, this is getting ridiculous now. And I want to go back to Embiid's comments. I probably just want to, if it were up to me, I don't want to do back-to-backs anymore. And I'm glad KG and Shaq called him out on that. Basically saying Shaq saying, the league's less physical. Why are you still getting hurt? And I remember Charles going in on him last year. Man, the issue with them guys in Philly, especially Embiid.
Bro, can you do it without?
Can I do it without what?
Like, you can say what they said without trying to sound like them. But go ahead.
I love doing Charles Barkley, but yeah, I got you.
I know you.
No. So he's basically, what they're saying is come into camp in shape and whatnot. Now I understand Embiid played in the Olympics, which I was kind of surprised because he was definitely hobbled in that series against the Knicks where they were eliminated in the first round. So to see him out there for Team USA was a little bit, of a shocker to me. But, and it's just like, I don't want to play back-to-backs for the rest of my career. Bro, the NBA has bent over backwards, providing more days off for everybody. There's less back-to-backs. There's less 4 games in 5 nights. There's less preseason games. There's more days off during All-Star weekend. I mean, how many more days off do you guys need? Not to mention, there's like, Chaez, if you ever look at an NBA schedule, there's like 3-4 days off between a home game sometimes. How many more days off do you guys need?
Look,
this is what it is.
No, man. Like, look, they're. I don't see it like that. Like, I don't know. Like, oh, how many off days do you need? Like, I don't see it like that. If you're hurt, you're hurt. If you can't play, you can't play. But I do know that the training staff has a lot to do with some of these guys not playing. So
it could be, but that comment right there raised a red flag. Now, you talk about the investigation. I want you to react to this, but here's the way I saw it. The NBA probably sold a lot of those Philadelphia games to ESPN, TNT, whoever else is doing, national televised games. It's mostly ESPN and TNT this year before the new deal kicks in next year. So, yeah, they're probably a little pissed. Like, whoa. He's now going to be sitting. It's bad enough this dude's already injury prone. Now he's going to pick and choose which games to sit out at. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if the second night of that back-to-back is on TNT or is on ESPN or is a Saturday night basketball on ABC? Like, we're gonna take a hit now. And what these guys, I think, fail to think about sometimes is that they are also in the entertainment business. You don't just get a $300 million extension just on your talent alone. There is an unwritten and a written obligation that you have to the media, to the fans, to the league.
But right now, but I'm talking right now. I'm not saying overall. No, right now, I don't think anybody's missing games on game one. I just want to just frame that. That's not that may be what's happening later in the season or what we may think and here or there. But on game one of the season, this is just unfortunate timing, and I feel for the guys. So, how many more days off do you need, or do you not feel like playing, and training staff and this and that? I'm not really trying to hear all that because it's game one and you want to be out there game one. So, man,
I just think there's a deeper issue, because it's not synonymous. It's not synonymous to this season, is what I'm saying. That's all I was saying. It's not synonymous to this season. And you're right. It is disappointing. And like Paul George, that was a legitimate injury. Okay, I get it. Porzingis, that was an unfortunate injury that needed 3 months to recover. I understand that. Kawhi Leonard, constant knee inflammation. That's been an ongoing problem for 4 years. I understand that. What I think the league is investigating, Chaez, I don't think I'm wrong in the reasoning for that, especially with Philadelphia. Chaez, we even said, who's the team we want to see this year? We want to see Philly. We want to see what Maxey does with Paul George, with Embiid. We want to see that big three. Okay, well, tomatoes. Knicks and Sixers. You can't deny the Sixers are on that list as well of teams we want to see, along with the Lakers and the Thunder and the Nuggets and almost any other team, even the Phoenix Suns. People want to see Booker and Durant. People want to see the stars, man. They want to see the draw. So that's why I'm saying I think the league, the reason why this is a red flag and why they're investigating is to make sure we're not going to have this kind of problem where these guys are dumping out early season, mid-season, whenever on nationally televised games. I just think that's the reason. Maybe I went too deep down the rabbit hole. I'm not saying you're wrong on that. Okay. A little bit. Dinero, a little bit. But you can't deny that is a justified concern of the NBA.
It is. And we'll see how that cookie crumbles over the course of the season. It's game one. And guess who's in first place? My Lakers.
By default.
My Lakers. I'm gonna switch gears real quick. We're gonna get some picks of Diatrine on the way out of the show tonight. I got a hell of a pick, and it comes off the heels of Brandon Ayuk being out, CMC still being in Germany, not knowing when he's gonna play after week 10. You got the Cowboys coming in after getting their ass absolutely beat in San Francisco on Sunday Night Football. last year. So I got to take the points. I got to take Dak. I got to take McCarthy off a bye, off a big ass loss at home to Detroit by like, what, 30 points, 40 points, whatever they lost by. Like, this is the prime spot for the Cowboys, if not to win, but to actually play good and maybe come up short. But they are covering that 4.5 point spread. I took them at 5.5. If you really was on your shit, you took them at 6.5 when the line opened. Chris, this is my pick or die trying of the week. Cowboys 4.5. What do you make of it, bro?
Well, I don't know. Cowboys seem to bring out the best in their opponents this year, with the exception of maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. No, I only say that. But then again, they've actually looked a little bit better like on the road. And given the fact that the Niners are down Run CMC, they're down Debo, who's battling pneumonia, Kittle with the sprained foot, Jennings has got an injury now. They're a mess right now, the Niners. And I don't even really want to dwell on a lot of their issues. It's just disappointing because, they're once again, Chaz, they're a draw. So when that many stars are missing, it really just sucks the wind out of some of these games. But yeah, I think that's an interesting pick. And it could be a season defining game, not just for your Cowboys, or not your Cowboys, but the Cowboys.
No, my right.
But I got you. But also for the Niners. This could be a critical game on how their seasons really go, because Niners are already down. They're already below 500, and they got the bye coming up after this game. So that's an interesting pick, Dallas. I think that's kind of I think it's going to be a crapshoot game.
I bet it hit though, because guess what I put on it? Some snakes.
Oh man,
what you got? What you got? You got one tonight or no?
Yeah. You know what? Because I brought up the Rams. And because they're kind of leading off this sports madness weekend that we're going to have with game 1 of the World Series, Lakers, Suns, USC, Rutgers, MLS playoffs. You got the Kings doing their thing on the ice. I like the Rams at +3. I don't know. I think the Niners. I think the Vikings can get had in this game, and I think the Rams are going to feel the urgency. They're going to be competitive. They got Cooper Kupp coming back, maybe even Puka Nacua. I think that game is going to be a challenge. At worst, I think it's going to be a push. I think it's going to come down to the end. The Vikings have not looked super sharp the last couple of weeks. They found ways to win, but they haven't really been as dominant as we saw them do the first, 4 or 5 weeks. So I don't know. I got a good feeling about the Rams. I could be dead wrong, but I don't know. I just kind of think their season, just like with the Niners, their season could depend on this game on Thursday night.
Yeah. I want to put that in so bad, but I just have a gut feeling like Justin Jefferson and Sam Darnold and Aaron Jones, who've been tearing up my fantasy league, by the way, even coming off of an injury with that hammy. I just feel like they're going to do something to us. Now, Cooper Kupp is going to be back out there, so the Rams might have something to say about it offensively, but I don't trust Kobe Durant. And Darius Williams is out, and I just don't like that our secondary. So I would like to put it down on Rams +3. I just don't feel the confidence, bro. So, but good pick.
Yeah. And also, too, I should also say, on a short week like this, it never really favors the home team. It always seems to kind of favor the road team. Like you saw what the Broncos did last week at New Orleans. I mean, they buried them. My goodness. What was it? 33-10 or something? That was the final score.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not to say that the home team is usually terrible on Thursday night. I'm just saying it usually doesn't always work out for the home team. But we'll see. I don't know. The Rams, outside of that Cardinals game, Chaz, every game has been competitive. They've been right there. A few mistakes here, one or two misplays there. It's a different story, So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm not ready to give up on my guys yet. I know there's been a lot of trade talks, but not ready to give up on my Rams yet.
We'll see. Well, we appreciate y'all for tapping in on this episode of The Outlet Forum. You guys know where to follow us on Instagram, on Twitter at The Outlet Forum. And you can follow me on Twitter at Chaez Pearson, on Instagram at Chaez P. Chris, where can I follow you, my man?
Could always follow me on Instagram, like many of you have. Shout out to all my followers tonight who joined me and Chaez here on this live. At @CCamelo1 and on Twitter at Chris_Camelo and Facebook. Just search Chris Camelo. Appreciate you for joining us. We got a new season underway, so a lot of good stuff coming.
Can't wait. Bart Scott voice. See y'all next